We're recording.
Success.
Are you on? Is your light green?
I'm colorblind.
Ooh, echo.
Someone's on the
Keep pushing.
Oh, I didn't use I was doing my right hand. You have to use your left hand.
It's crossover, move.
Okay, we'll call the meeting. Wow,
Wow.
it sounds really loud. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome. Great to see everyone. I see Nick and Bob. Can you hear us okay?
There's
Yep.
a lot of.
I think, Bill, you need to go off the computer or somebody needs to go off the, it's okay. It's okay.
That tiny mouth.
It's our first meeting of the season. You know, we have a few kinks to work out. A little bit like, I was gonna make a Jets joke but I don't know who the Jet fans are here, so.
Well, then you definitely need to make a Jets jokes because Josh needs a few. Yeah.
As a Pats fan, I picked my Pats to lose to the Bengals. So not only did I get it wrong, I went against my team and got it wrong. I mean, it's the worst. That was a disaster.
No, it's the speaker. It's just me talking.
Sorry. I think you got it.
Okay.
Okay, don't move. Okay, well, we'll call the meeting to order. Chris, would you do the roll, please?
Yeah, sure. Deanna Carlson.
Here.
Tom Schulte,
Here.
Todd Lavieri,
Here.
Michael Chen,
Here.
Chris Labrise is here. Victor Alvarez. Maria Weingarten,
Here.
Robert Hamill,
Here.
Ellen Dobbin.
Here.
James Yao.
Here.
Nick Matrakis,
Here.
Jan Schaefer. Okay. Have a quorum? We're good.
We do. Do we know if Victor or Jan are joining at all tonight? Okay, okay.
I think she was coming.
Do we need to seat anyone for Victor then?
Yeah, we should seat
Nick?
Nick. Yeah.
Okay. Motion to seat Nick for Victor.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. And a player to be named later. Okay. 2 minutes to approve. We have the regular meeting that we had on the 9th of July, and we have the special meeting that was held on the 17th. We should just approve them together unless there's any exceptions or concerns, objections. Motion to approve both minutes.
I'll
Second, Tom, all in favor? Aye, opposed, none, so moved. Okay. All right, Joe and Bill, the floor is yours. Very excited about this update. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Much appreciated for the opportunity. Since the last time, I think we were here in June, I believe, is that right? We've had a really, I guess you would describe it as a summer where we progressed and not too much else went wrong. So it's been somewhat of a, as far as building projects go, it's been a very good summer. The weather cooperated. We survived that torrential flood fairly well. Our situation with the neighbors have been very supportive and very patient, with the construction process. I believe the EMTs have also been again very patient with construction in their back door and all, but from their from their operations, they've been pleased with the way it's gone so far. So really, it's been going very, very well. For the Board of Finance, we go through some of the progress that we have made, and of course, go through the contingency dollars. But right now, we really didn't move the contingency needle too much at all, and the expectations are really quite good. We have, some things, going forward that of course will cost us some money, whether it's, moving a transformer or, what have you. Things do happen. But we have the steel up, as you will see. Most of the real outside construction has happened. As far as the big lead time items, the switching gear is in our hands. The generator, we believe, is still on schedule for October. So we feel, I'm not gonna use the confident word. That's just bad luck. But let's just say we feel very good about where we are. So do you want us to go through the presentation quickly? I
let's
know
go
you have a lot. of
No,
important
let's
things
go
to
through the presentation. We're not in a burning rush. You said in June, you were through the part of the project that you would have likely had needed contingency if you're
Mhm.
going to have that. And that,
Yep.
we kind of got through that okay. So that was great at that point and felt you were on track. Those are the two messages I took out of.
We were on track. I mean, when you get finished with the demolition portion and you've uncovered most of the
Right.
unforeseen conditions
Right.
in the project, that's most of your risk. So we're about less than 50% through with our contingency and more than 50% through
Right.
with the project. So, and most of the risk is in the first 50%.
Excellent.
We'll go through, I'd like to thank everyone on the committee. It's an amazing, dedicated group of.
And Joe, we'd like to thank you for putting this presentation together because
So as you remember, this is, we saved the 1928 building facade and the entire building in the front here. And then there was a purpose-built addition that has prisoner processing, jail cells, locker rooms, and a 2-bay sally port in the back. So this is what it looked like in June, one with the last presentation.
Mhm.
And this was what it looks like today. So you can tell that we, all the dental work and all the detail work is done. The windows are in, and the building looks basically refreshed of what it did in 1929. So I think it was a big.
and from an envelope perspective, the water testing that we have done has tested very, very well. Of course, that's when you get right down to one of the most important aspects of this renovation to make sure it's going to stay watertight. And everything we have done, everything Turner has done, the supplier of the tar-like substance that we're using,
Waterproofing membrane.
it's been good. It's working.
So we had tested it last week, so that's good.
Mhm.
So you can see some of it here.
Was there anything that happened in that storm?
No, we had a little bit of water surge up the drains because we're not connected to the street system yet.
Yeah.
So nothing that would lead us to believe there's going to be a problem when it's connected and it's as constructed. So we're good.
So the front windows didn't flood.
No floods. And the building is pretty much watertight in the front, so there was no puddles inside the building, with the exception of just a little bit where it surged up through a drain. And that will not happen in the future because
Right.
it'll be connected. So this is the rear elevation that you saw in June, and since June, this is what it looks like. We have all the steel has been completed. This is looking at these are the sally ports. This is the canopy. This is the purpose-built addition. You see the jail cells are can't really see them here, but they're right behind the cursor right here. And then the interior, I didn't take a lot of pictures, walked a lot of people through. We're ahead of schedule on the interior, so it's really off the critical path of the project. So I didn't take too many pictures, and you can only take so many pictures of the interior. But once we have the building climatized, we'll finish up with the trim work, and we're really only about 8 weeks from being done up in this area, being done. So
Wow.
it's not really. You can see that we're putting in millwork. This is the forensic lab. So this is on the 3rd floor. So this is how far along we are in the existing building. We hit all our critical dates on the project timeline. And like Bill mentioned, we were originally scheduled to complete in Thanksgiving. And right now we're trending towards spring of 2025.
Late spring. We're going to tell people late spring.
Late spring. Project
Late
milestone-
spring, moving everybody back in,
moving back.
fully up and running. Yeah.
Going back.
Yeah,
So
okay.
6 months early.
We're trending 6 months ago. So.
You're trying to calculate how much under budget it's gonna be?
I just like putting numbers with
I'm-
everything. 6 months,
Yeah.
spring,
It does help a little bit if we can move the police out of their temporary quarters a little sooner.
That's
you know.
true.
Does help a little bit.
Landlord, if we're gonna exit early.
3 months.
Got it.
We give them 3 months notice once we know that we're getting it.
Okay, okay, all right.
So the project milestones, I won't go into them in detail, but we finished the steel erection on August 19th. In September, we're going to be working on making the addition watertight. It's a big milestone for us. And like I mentioned, the interior renovation is ahead of schedule, so it's really a non-issue.
And we're gonna be getting a more detailed update on Thursday, Thursday morning.
So, and this is the contingency. We started off with $1.9 million in contingency. We've authorized 591,000. It's been approved by the committee for changes. And then there's 372,000, which is reserved for known project risks, change orders, just changes on the drawings, et cetera. And that is all detailed in the Turner reports that were sent out. They're on your tablets. I wasn't going to go into detail on those particular items. We spend about an hour on it every other Thursday with the building committee, and everyone's welcome to attend those meetings as well. If anyone has any detailed, I can try to answer any questions right now, but we'll have the design team and the entire construction team on the meeting on Thursday.
But Turner had their own contingency, yeah? Not just the
Yes.
project contingency?
In addition to this one,
Yeah.
the 1.9, which is basically 992 or 1 million left.
Yeah.
There is 501,000 of Turner contingency left in their
Okay.
contract.
What was that? Was that 2 million? How much was that contingency?
No, theirs was 707.
Under a million, okay, all right, okay, okay, okay. Okay,
There's a detail of all that.
Yeah.
The drawdown on that in the backup as well. So, so like I said, everyone's invited to the Thursday meeting, and then there's an open invitation for anyone to walk through. Tiger and I walk through every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock, and we're joined by various members of committees and boards. So we're all welcome to attend. Just let me know so I can have
Hard hats.
hard hats and safety vests available.
anything coming up in the next few weeks that would be worth being there over any other particular Wednesday? I mean, is there anything that's happening phase-wise, construction-wise, getting done, getting inside, anything like that, that would be meaningful or a meaningful milestone that might be, make sure we're there the third week of October and making it up?
So we could look at when the next concrete pour, if
Something.
you're interested in that.
Something.
Everything else is.
It's a
kinda
good mix of seeing what the, what the original building will look like on the inside. You can see the, the trim work at the finish, because it starting to look like what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And from the outside, it's still an erector project, and that's kind of cool to look at too, actually.
Okay.
But as far as some heavy new equipment coming in, the cells and things like that, that's still a
Yeah, well,
ways
their
off.
cells are being constructed now.
Yeah.
It's masonry work,
Mhm.
and it goes slow. So it's interesting to look at, but it's not like that.
Okay.
Is it mostly the third floor that's sort of getting the finishes right now and you're gonna work your way down?
Yeah,
So
we're working our way down. The third and the second are very far along. And the lower level, we had some challenges with the routing of mechanical equipment through load bearing walls. So that's a little bit, it's not as finished.
Right. And that was probably our biggest engineering issue, after the footings, excuse me,
Yep.
that we reported on at the last meeting. Probably the biggest technical challenge has been, fitting mechanicals in so we don't lose ceiling space, and to make sure that, structural engineers, construction, and the people who are going to live in the building, we're all going to be happy. Find
Yeah,
out.
the lower level of the building was, made Swiss cheese by other renovations. And we're fixing that, and we're also not allowed to poke through the walls in the location where we originally anticipated, because of where the bond beam is and where the structural engineer wants us to go through the wall. So as Bill mentioned, to keep the ceilings up to an acceptable level, we had to reroute a lot of the
Okay.
mechanicals.
Yeah. So
But
a lot of people worked very hard, Turner, the architect,
Good story.
Joe and his team, really worked hard to find a good working solution there. So that we're kind of pleased with that.
Would there be anything else you can anticipate between now and move-in in the spring that, you know, relies on something outside of our control? I mean, we know Turner's gonna work hard, they're gonna do right. If the supplies are on site, you're gonna, you know, so all that's fine. Weather's always a variable, but what I'm thinking is there anything on order and we don't know when it's gonna be delivered, or is there a particular inspection that's outside of our control, like for insurance or something? Is there any kind of a variable there?
The building department has been amazing working with us on inspections. I don't see that being an issue. I'm always hesitant, just to say that, you know, until we have everything landing on site, it's always hard.
We have a big generator coming, you know, we have very excellent visibility, and that was a long lead item on it coming in October. But heck, I'm an old Ingersoll Rand engineer, and I remember a truck overturning and, you know, 6
Yeah,
months
yeah,
worth of work rolling down a hill. So, you know, things can happen, things can happen.
I think we've done a really great job procuring all the materials for this, and we were actually able to early release a lot of the materials. You all allowed us to do that back a year ago, so that's really helped this project.
Well, if you remember, we were dealing with still the lingering supply chain issues, availability, you know, promises being broken left, right, and center, right on almost everything. So I'm glad that worked out.
So the electrical gear, the generator, and a lot of the mechanical equipment were ordered
Yeah, yep,
well
that's right.
in advance of the project
Yeah.
getting started.
Yeah.
So
yeah, good. No, I mean, we can do it, so it makes sense, and then they don't waste time, waiting, or, you know, having issues with the schedule. Anything from your side, Paul? Any heads up or thoughts, concerns? Okay. Yeah, you guys, sounds like it's great, really a terrific, well-run project, and so far so good. Touch wood, I know. Yeah,
Yep.
great job.
Perfect.
Anything else from the committee?
No, I just say, those meetings are so smooth every other Thursday morning. I'm waiting for a shoe to drop and it never drops.
we aim to be boring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Maybe one follow-up, when would be a reasonable next time to catch up? Just December, January? We have a budget season, so not that you tell me. I mean, let us know, but I would, maybe the December meeting or something like that as we're getting,
I think before the end of the year, sir.
yeah, let's do one more before the end of the year. Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Josh and Ann. Now, I have to say, when I looked through these files, I got very excited about this update.
You have a printed copy if anyone wants.
I got mine. Now, I have the new one, right?
They're on the tablets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I printed it out and then I think you said it changed.
The ones that we have here, are they the most recent?
That's the most recent, yeah.
700K in the box there.
That's the one. Okay, my other one had 6,000. That's it. Okay, good. Do they have, Bob, do you have well, it's on his tablet. You should have the most recent one. And Nick, we lose Nick?
No,
Yep, no, it all came through.
Yes, thank you.
Hold on, Nick's, he's
So
coming.
this is our unaudited but preliminary final. Is that the way to look at it? Okay.
All right. One moment, please. So what you have in front of you and on your tablets is the most up-to-date year-to-date financials as of fiscal year 24 year end, so June 30th. They've changed a bit since, I guess we reviewed them in July. I think our meeting in July was on the earlier side of the month, so there was quite a bit more to kind of book from, revenues and expenses as they took place towards the end of June. Starting at the top on the revenue side, We're finishing at about 101.18% on tax collections. That's about 1.7 million over what was budgeted, at about a 99 points, I think 3% collection rate, probably a little bit above the point. Building permits are at 131% or 265,000 over what was budgeted, slightly up from last year's by about 168,000. A lot of this is due to OpenGov coming online and people being able to, or being forced to rather, pay their building permits up front in the process.
Interesting. Okay. Technology comes through.
Yep. Conveyance fees hit 109%. So that just tipped over what was budgeted by about 140,000. 24,000 less than last year. I mean, we expected it kind of to slope back to the norm, and it's sloping a little more gradually, I think, than we had expected.
That was a diving catch, though. That was not looking good in February. That's a diving catch to get that close. Wow. Okay.
Parking is kind of slugging behind. It's at about 80% of what was budgeted, 180,000 under the 930. On the meter side of things, it hit about 132%. So it was over by 70,000. Boxcar was over by 12,000. It's really just the permits that were kind of lagging behind. Interest on investments is 173% or 650-ish thousand over the 900,000 budgeted. And that's up versus last year by about 200,000 or so. Tipping is also at around 80% of what was budgeted, down 87,000 or so. Down to the other revenues is at about 111,000 or 500,000, 111% or 500,000 over the 4.4 million budget. A lot of that is the 1.3 million in interest, unrealized gain, and some revenue sharing, the 233,000 or so.
Josh, my numbers are different from what I think you're reading the original one.
They should not be.
Because I have other revenue, 589 up 113% just for.
589, yes, no, that is right. Sorry, yes, that is right.
And then you
113.
skipped the excess cost grant.
Excess cost, yeah, that came in under. That's been like that pretty much since the midway.
Are we over budgeting for? I mean,
They've cut back, but they're actually going through, the state's going through I don't know if it's a revaluation, but they're looking at the formula to try and equalize it back up to where it should be. Because we're
Okay.
only getting about 70% or less than 70% of what
65.
we're actually should be getting.
okay.
Yeah.
So what did we put in for this fiscal year?
I think we brought it lower
For the excess cost?
for 25, yeah.
What we saw this past year?
That's a great question.
And you think that reformulation, that reevaluation will be done and we will benefit from that this year, calendar,
Not sure
this
if it's
fiscal year?
25 yet, if we're
Excess-
gonna see it in 25.
I think excess cost, we did 900.
So we took it down a little, not a lot. Okay.
And sometimes when they do the true up in, they do a true up, they look at May. And then if there is money that we're actually due more back for some reason, if they have more in the kitty of what they have, we see that coming back as a different revenue into 25. So that won't happen till probably October. So
Okay.
it's strange that it takes that time period, but if there's anything that they're going to true up, it comes in October and it's unbudgeted by us, or it's not budgeted by us.
So all in all, this puts us at a total revenues of 101.66%.
Yep.
Or 2.6-ish million over what was budgeted originally. Any questions on the revenue side of things? Okay. So going down to the expenditure side, the overall expenditure is at 98.37% or 2.7 million, I guess, under what was budgeted. And you'll have a kind of a slight breakdown on the highlights, I suppose, of kind of what makes up that 2.7 million. There's about 650,000 or so, 660 in debt service that was unpaid, or savings rather. Board of Education had about 527,000. There's savings on the workers' comp side of things and also on the fire side in terms of sick and injury overtime salaries, and those kind of have a correlation in terms of, performing your duty kind of safely and saving on both sides of it. And about 111,000 in contingency that was unspent. Kind of when we took a look at this in July, there was about 950,000 of encumbered funds. Of that, we've brought about 600,000 closed in terms of POs and brought that back into the general fund. Any questions on?
So 2.7 million? And we were working with, so this adds up to 6 million, right?
No, 5.
Or 5, sorry,
535.
5.3, and we were working with 4.
We were working with
3.9?
3.9-ish. Yeah, it was 1.8 on expense side, yeah. And
2.1 on revenue.
I believe so, yeah.
So we were working with 3.9, we ended up with 5.3. So we almost covered our drawdown.
770 something
Yep.
is the drawdown we're actually
Okay.
gonna use.
Okay, good. Excellent. Any questions? That's very good finish. Very good finish. And we were a little surprised in a couple of these buckets that the spending was under.
Encumbrances, because we have a 60-day look back, we don't close out the POs or our encumbrances
Right.
until third week of August.
Right.
Because they're encumbered, we have to leave them there because we don't know
Sure.
what departments have. And then once we close them out, we're like, okay, we have these left over. So
Okay.
next year we'll look at it even sooner to
Okay.
try and get them to say what's out there so we can close them down and realize those savings
Mm,
sooner and
mhm,
not
mhm.
have a better estimate.
Well, but yeah, more importantly, don't spend it.
Well,
Yes, we'll figure the number out when the book's closed. Okay, okay. Questions?
Well, I think that's pretty good that we have well over 2.5 million on both underspend and over collect.
Yeah.
Which is consistent, which is harks back a couple of years now. The last couple of years were tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to what things were like you'll recall when we were doing the guidance back in 22 or 21.
Exactly.
We were always looking at about 4,
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
on each side.
Yep, yep.
So this is good. Hopefully it will continue.
Well, interest on investments was something we knew pretty quickly we would overachieve. So I think this is about right.
Well, and it gives a measure of comfort when we talk about, what are we going to contribute to buy down the mill rate? and all
Yes,
that.
yeah. Yep. Good, okay.
There's a lot of hard work, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And, and to the town and the departments. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody managed the revenue side well, but the expense side that's real work, so.
And this 500,000 delta with the Board of Ed, that they'll actually journal that back to us?
It just flows back it'll flow back as a savings up to the fund balance. Yep. Yep. It's already in there.
All right.
Okay. You, Nick. Bob, anything on your end?
No, I mean, we are facing probably a Fed interest rate cut next week, but I think we budgeted that into our interest on investments for next year or this year that we're in. So that number, we might not overperform on that number again,
Right.
but no, I echo the compliments of the great work on the expense side.
What did we budget for interest to income? 2 million? Oh, shoot. Okay.
Probably, since we're not drawing down as much, maybe on the fund balance, there's probably more to be invested by.
It's a good point.
at least
Yep.
more
We
than-
probably, that, and we did more, good point, and we did more in July, August, September already, because there hasn't been a cut, which we thought we would have, and we had more money in it. That's right. Good. Okay, excellent. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
On the whole rec thing where they get the revenue in, right, and they get to spend it, how is that accounted for here?
So this is only general funds.
Okay, so that's not included in what, so that's a separate fund.
Yeah,
How are they doing? Do you know how they're doing with that?
I think they're doing well.
They are doing well in the program. Waveney as a self-sustaining is probably breaking even right now, but that's their first year. So it's kind of their pilot year. Rec is doing pretty well. We're looking at how to break it because we have them in maybe 3 or 4 different buckets versus every single program to know what every single program's doing. But we're finalizing their deferred revenue, et cetera, right now. So we can say what their fund balance is at the end of the year.
That's a totally separate.
Self-sustaining separate.
But if the excess, is there, there is small, and it can get swept in.
And we did, yeah, you're right,
next
Juliana,
year,
thank you.
yeah.
For we budgeted 100,000 for next year. Yeah, because it was.
You know where I was going.
We did that as an operating transfer in for next year, I think 100,000.
100,000. And the premise is because we moved it out, we didn't move out, thank you for bringing that up we didn't take administration out of the general fund.
Okay.
We just took the programs and that revenue is meant to cover the administration because it would have in the general fund.
Okay.
So that's why we're bringing it back. And we only took 100 until we feel comfortable. Yeah. Thank you, Diana.
Okay, if there's nothing else, let's go over to all the rollover projects.
So there has been some progress on this since we last met. I think it was in July that we went over this. It's broken down into 3 pages or 3 sections. The first being FY24 tax supported capital projects that will automatically roll over without.
Thinking we don't have, I haven't, I'm good.
Oh,
No, I was thinking Tiger should have been here.
He's on.
Oh, he's on, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't see him up there, good.
So, so these will automatically carry forward, the total being 744,000, and there's about 85,000 or so in encumbrances. The second piece.
Well, what do we want to do here? Do we-
Nothing needs to be done on those. That's gonna flow through to next year as we kind of close the books on this one, or I guess last.
So they just
Everybody got
continue, they continue as of right. They don't need our approval, right?
The second part is a list of capital projects that are being closed out. So this, a couple months ago, I think we were closing out maybe a couple $1,000s worth of projects, and this has jumped up to about 196,000. So we've really brought a lot of the older projects kind of through to the end of life and done some research, mostly on Ann and Tiger's part, and seeing what projects are really done, what can be given back, and so that money flows to the tax supported capital fund balance and will go hopefully towards next year to kind of offsetting some of next year's
So
capital.
do we vote on
projects.
that or that's done?
That's closed. It's
So
done.
that's you see the dates for those of the uninitiated here. We've got it says project title, but actually there's the date and then there's the project title. So you can see some of these go back to 2018, 2019, 2021.
It's fair to say though, the number in the revised budget this is sort of what was remaining, right?
Yep.
In other words, there's just a tail end to a project that was largely complete, and for like an abundance of caution, we just want to keep that little bit open. And now they're saying we're done.
Yeah.
Got it.
A lot of departments have, like 2020 field improvements. They have a field improvements every year. So
Right.
they have some of the older dollars that they can then use in, combination with some of the newer dollars to complete a project that's bigger. But as they get,
Yeah, if the actual is 0, does that mean the project wasn't done?
there might have been, that's actuals within FY24 only.
24 only.
It's not life to date for these.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Yeah, these
sorry,
are-
sorry, yeah.
That, Chris, is that they felt like they couldn't close out the project. They needed to keep the tail end of, call it 20 grand. They ended up not
Yeah.
spending any of that 20 tail, if you
And
know what I mean.
some of it too, what Tiger has brought up, and previously, if you didn't have an invoice, it was 1 PO per area, so you couldn't go between lines. So if you got an invoice that was 10 grand, but you only had 9 left in that budget, you couldn't use it. So
Right.
they'd go to their next bucket and use that
Right,
and not go back. So
right.
that's what happened a lot of times. Now, we've changed the process where they can put multiple lines so they can split an invoice across 1 PO. So the process
Okay.
has changed, which will make it more efficient to get all those balances used before you move forward.
So these aren't the original budget numbers where it says revenue budget.
No, the revised
the
budget is
difference.
what got brought to FY24.
That's okay.
Yep.
Okay, so
That's
these
why.
are, the revenue budgets is what was carried forward.
Revised.
So, yeah,
Revised. Revised.
revised.
It's carried forward, yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
From the original project.
All right, so it's not like they're not,
Could have been 2 or 3 million originally,
Yeah,
and that was
got
what
it.
was left.
For 50,000, since they're all tax supported capital projects.
No, but the whole list could have
Oh,
been
yes.
well over, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And now it's the revised budget is this, and then this is what's left. Okay, okay. So this is done. All right.
Done. And
A little off topic, but EV charging stations. Sorry. I had a question on the EV charging stations. So I know there's been some talk about state level about EV charging stations. Are these projects to just install EV installation costs for EVs? Is this part of like a grant we received? What is this specifically? Do we know?
Excuse me, we had monies set aside for additional EV installations, but we were able to receive a state grant for some work, and then and that helped us, excuse me, install the ones behind Town Hall along the annex. So for our EVs, so at that point in time, this additional money wasn't necessary. So we were able to use this to repair the Morse Court installation, and then to assist with some of the installation on at the annex. But we were able to capture a state grant for the majority of the work.
So my second part of the question is, do we charge for I'm assuming that there is a charge to us to have that energy given
That's
to people who charge up there. So do we charge a fee to people who use our EV stations or not?
So at Morse Court, Eversource actually pays for that. There's a sub meter associated with that meter that's there. There's a meter. There's a drawdown to the power to a meter box, and that actually powers all the decorative lights along Main Street. And then off of that, there's a sub panel that then feeds Morse Court. Eversource pays for that as part of their. There was a program for Eversource, and they pay for that. The ones behind Town Hall, we're looking at bringing in a vendor, specifically Amped Up, to then there'll be a swipe, and the person will charge, and Amped Up will charge them a fee and then provide us revenue off of that. So right now we've been reviewing different vendors, and we're looking at bringing forward Amped Up to the selectmen to approve the fee. Approximately 35 cents a kilowatt hour is what seems to be the going rate in the towns around us that do charge.
I'm glad to hear that, because I guess
I'm all over it.
there should be no free rides.
That's,
We should be matching our costs with our benefits, and if those who are taking advantage of using this should be paying the cost of the energy for what they're doing. So it would make sense. So thank you.
Yeah, no, as Deanna said, she's more all over than you are. So yeah, she brought it to my attention again the past weekend because she saw people charging, and they were charging for free. So, we'll be bringing that to the selectmen.
I almost took a picture, but I didn't.
Tiger loves those pictures on Sunday afternoon around 4 o'clock. Hey, there's a broken garbage pail across the walkway at Waveney. Okay, let's talk about this page.
So the last page are the projects that need your vote to be pushed forward into FY24. Some of which into FY25. Some of which have encumbrances, have invoices that are out there, are waiting for items to be delivered, projects in various stages that are underway. And so that is a total of $509,917.13. We did a pretty deep dive on anything that was before 2022.
Mhm.
There was a pretty long list of them. Most of them got moved to be closed page. The only ones that are remaining are a couple police radios that they ordered in February, and they're just waiting on the delivery. Tiger can probably speak better to the ADA and the vacuum leaf system and the Waveney and Mead Park that are kind of projects that are ongoing. And the rest of which are mostly encumbered monies or projects that are kind of in various stages of being in process. Do you have any questions?
I can't help myself here. Is there a significance to the asterisk And,
I know,
ratings.
I don't know what it's there for. It's.
was my
You
question,
know, it's auto-filled by a VLOOKUP and I don't know why it was put in there to begin with.
no problem.
I think there's an inside bet that if they put that asterisk there, $5, if Tom Schulte asks about it. So I don't know who won the bet, but somebody obviously won that bet. Just a couple of questions. The vacuum lease, Tiger, we're saying we still need these items that.
Yes.
Could we go through those 14 items that have neither
Zero.
actual
Yeah,
nor
yeah, yeah.
encumbrances?
Yep, let's take a minute on that. Exactly.
So
That's the first one.
which
Vacuum
one?
leaf.
The vacuum. So the vacuum leaf system, actually what happened with this is this was in our budget for $35,000. By the time the budget became active and we were actually going forward to buy the system, prices skyrocketed to the point now where they're in the $90,000 range for the same system. So we actually are sistering 3 accounts together, 3 separate years of requests to buy 2 units. So the selectmen have said yes, that we can do this to buy the units. We just need the approval to then carry this last 35,000 over to be able to buy the second unit. We're able to buy 1 unit. We need this last 35,000 to replace the second unit. But that's exactly what happens. By the time this is through COVID and we had quotes in October, by the time we got the money in June and went to then go to buy the units had skyrocketed. And at that point in time, we had to wait for another budget cycle to then ask for additional money to try to sister the 2 together to purchase. And that's exactly what happened. So right now we have a valid quote. Selectmen have said yes. We just need the board to say yes and carry this money over, and we'll be able to buy the second unit.
Right. So, but if we, and just to put a finer point on it, if we carry over the 2021 appropriation for the vacuum lease system, should we see 22 and 23s on page 1 here? Because they're going to be carried over as of right to sister them together the way you're saying.
Probably haven't closed yet.
Right. So those other prior appropriations would also have rolled. Yeah.
They would be current. That is correct. I'd have to look to see what year those newer accounts, those newer projects were in. But I'm assuming, Tiger, that you have those project numbers of.
Been necessarily titled leaf.
Yeah.
Something. Right.
I was thinking the
I'm
same
just-
thing.
Just stand to reason that if, right, it would be on page
Should be
1
there.
someplace.
Yeah, well, since we had made one purchase already, I think we had exhausted one account.
Didn't we discuss this last time and
That's-
asked to scrub the list, look at what's really still required since it's like 4 or 5 years old?
Kinda what
That's
it's from.
correct. And we
Yeah.
were told that if we could get it encumbered or get it approved to be encumbered, we could carry it forward. So so for the 2 units that we asked to purchase, it was $193,000 for the 2 units. That's how far the monies have come up. So as we mentioned, we had fiscal 21, which is the project you're looking at, fiscal 24 and fiscal 25. So Tom, to your point, we didn't have anything in 22, 23.
I see.
The accounts in 22, 23, we had 24 and 25, and in 24, we had $85,000, still under the amount that we needed to buy. We needed to combine it with the 35 to buy 1. And then we had $95,000 in fiscal 25. And that helped us between the 3 projects, we're able to buy the 2 units.
There's
And then
also.
whatever's left over will go back to the town.
I see.
Nitty gritty, the FY23 leaf box and vacuum is technically not in 2910, it's in 2980. It was using the special, the bond premium to pay it off.
Right.
So it wouldn't be on the.
So you're using part of 25. That's never going to show up here. You're using part of 24, but you exhausted it, so it's not going to show up here. But there's probably going to be a little left over for 21 that will close next.
This probably needed an asterisk.
It went on the wrong project.
It's all good.
Right.
This should be one of those New York Times games in the morning, right? You
Yeah.
could try to do this.
This system leaves a lot to be desired. Doesn't it? I mean,
You could cancel that. You could have,
The
when the,
logic would be, yes, okay,
When you-
we
when you-
asked you for 35, we went out to the bid, it's 90, okay, we'll cancel this, they'll put a new bid, a new thing
Right,
in, we'll
could
give
do
you
it.
90.
Yeah. Could-
Or we'll consider 90, and then,
I don't think we've really had the precedent of something tripling that year. That's probably part of what happened, right? You know?
yeah, but it doesn't.
No, I hear you. I
tri-
know, I'm just saying.
Tripling
Yeah.
wasn't extraordinary, but it could have gone up 40%, and they'd still be in the same pickle.
Yeah. Very cool.
Why
don't we do this?
I think we're straddling years in which we didn't enjoy the flexibility that Ann talked about at the outset, which is now you can take a number of different lines, right? Different purchase
Right.
orders. Put them in. So I think we're still working through these sort of historical abnormalities, if that's a word.
Let's go through the 14 and come back to your question, because it may be that, you know what, there's a lesson learned here around how to do this. And maybe something should have been canceled and not, the idea, it wasn't canceled because that way we can always bundle it with something else and get it done. But, you know, that may not be the best process, but,
Yeah.
Okay, let's plow through them. The Waveney Trail extension?
So the Waveney Trail extension, we actually went out to bid just shortly, a little while ago, and the selectmen approved it this morning, for that work. It's actually, above the $50,000, so we're having to use a secondary year to help us. That's one of the problems, is trying to straddle a project to get it within the budget that we have. And I couldn't shorten the segment any lower. So we're actually going to be straddling 2 years, this year and a subsequent year, to do the work.
Okay, so
I can
we
tell you
approved
what-
it. It
I
didn't,
can tell you.
didn't get
We
started.
approved it this morning.
Yeah,
I can
okay,
tell you what
all
it
right.
is.
And the Mead Park Tennis Building and the Colonnade work, what happened there is, so we want to replace the tennis structure and we need to do some work at the Colonnade. Combined with that is that the parking lot next to the pickleball court is in disrepair and it's non-compliant. So what happened is we came in, we had this work slated, then we started looking at the parking lot, and then we moved forward with the pickleball court, felt we needed to put the pickleball court in and then work our way out of the area. We had a survey done of Mead Park. It took us about a year or so to actually execute that survey. We have all the data, and then Maria finalized her design. Now we have a cohesive design for the parking lot with a new structure and a walkway going down to the Colonnade, which is what was envisioned in the original project, and we'll be looking to go to bid very shortly with that. So these two smaller subsets, the tennis building and the Colonnade, got wrapped back into the larger project of having to look at the entire area, given the fact that it's non-compliant and in disrepair. And now we have a pickleball court that we need to have access to. So with all that, that caused us to delay for the past couple of years. Now we're in a good position to actually get it all done, hopefully by the end of the season, if not early next season.
So that's the 50 and the 70, or no, sorry, the 20 and the 11?
Yes, the 20 and the 11,974, that's correct.
So Tiger, to go back, this morning, we approved another 64,515 for those Waveney Trails. So you're saying it's over 100 for we're gonna need 100 for those trails?
No, it's 64,500 combined, so I need this year and then a
Plus
subsequent
50
year.
though, that you have from a prior year.
This 50 and then yes, correct, a prior year. I
Oh,
have
it's
to
over
combine 2
100.
years. The trails themselves were 68,000. From this morning.
So what's the 50 then? I thought you said you needed 50. I thought you said you needed additional money to cover the 50, but we have 50 and we just
I have
approved
50 and
another
then
64.
I have this 50 that I'll use towards that 64, and then I'll use there'll be a $14,000 difference, and I'll
Okay.
have to use a subsequent
Okay.
year for that. Sorry if that was confusing.
Okay.
I have a suggestion, but let's go through the rest of these. The 8,000 for the transfer station?
That's for a message board. We're still working towards trying to determine the best piece to use and where to place it. But we've been utilizing a temporary message board, and I want to replace that with a permanent one. We were waiting for the transfer station itself to be complete. We're almost done with the work around the transfer station that went out to bid. And it was awarded by the selectmen, let's say 3 weeks ago, and that work will start. And associated with that will be the purchase of this unit, and it'll be installed somewhere along the entranceway.
The next four are recreation administration. Waveney Athletic Field, there's something there, could be bleachers, resurface and so forth. I mean, the question for us is.
That was for
these
the
all
that was
need to be
bleacher
done.
repair.
Yeah. Okay. Stairs to the playground.
You're
Overhead.
talking that. So that the
assume
tennis
people-
walk, the
I-
tennis
I think-
walkways, the tennis walkways and the colonnade improvements were actually part of that project I was mentioning prior. So the tennis walkways is actually the walkway down from the tennis court to the colonnade, and then we have the colonnade improvements as well. So that's why they're all being asked to be carried over. So there's actually
Okay, so
four
those are
projects associated
two,
with that other
one project, same funding from 1 year and the other's funding's from 20, that was from 21, this is from 22.
That's
I see.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like there's
So
5
here's,
tennis
maybe
things.
here's the question we should be asking. Are we doing two questions? One, are we doing too many projects that can't get done? And maybe a better question is, are we doing enough due diligence during the budget season when we ask for this money that we're actually going to do it? You know, when I hear that this electrical wasn't set up at the transfer station, or the pavements, you can't do this because the pavement's not ready. Well, that didn't happen overnight. So maybe the question is, when we ask for the funds, this budget, we should be asking, are we going to do these? I mean, are we really ready to do these? Are we going to spend this money? I think all intentions are out there, but I think that may be the question, Tiger, you should challenge the team on before they ask for the money, you know, things that didn't get started or couldn't get finished from 3 or 4 years ago. Just either too many things, wasn't a priority, or we weren't ready. Either way, we probably shouldn't have asked for the money. Is that
We've
fair?
had
I mean,
those,
it's a
we've
lot
had
of
those
money here
discussions.
on your
We've
budget,
had those
but
discussions.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that we're not overtaxing ourselves, and B, you know, if we need it, we ask for it. If we don't need it, we don't ask for it. So we've been asking those questions throughout. But yeah, your point is well taken, and we'll go through that diligence again this year. Our
I mean,
feeling
these
is
are the
that
cleanups. These are the
Right.
cleanups. I'm sure there's a whole nother list of stuff that we just budgeted for this year that we're going to get done. And we ought to really look and, you know, we tax the taxpayers for it. We're planning on doing it. We ought to either not do them, not ask for the money, or make sure we get them done either way. But the comes back to, do you have enough people? So this process is improved. I mean, we've got visibility to it. This is the good thing. When we started this, I think there were projects from, you know, the Eisenhower administration where we hadn't quite finished them up. But this is, and we get it, right? We understand those things going to happen. They're going to slip. But just a question as we got into the budget season. Anything on the painting to cover? I mean, this is all from last year, so.
As you can imagine, the problem with the Board of Ed is they only can get it done during the summer. So this would have been approved, say, the summer of 22. They would have only have access to it July 1st, which at that point it's too late. They got to go out to bid. They got to do whatever they've got to do. It's too late to get some of that stuff in place. So it would be summer of 23. And then unfortunately, they had a lot of staffing changes in their, you know, their administration plus their facilities area. So that got delayed. So in talking with Sean, we'll start using that because they have additional painting that they just put in the budget as well for 25. So they're going to start getting that done now.
Yes, but when they put in the 25 budget, are they going to net these out? And just
Yes,
say it's all one
they're gonna,
project?
they're aware now, because it goes through our books, they're aware that they have to put in the multiple lines to use this up first. And what Josh and I are doing now is every January, we're going through this going, you used up your 25, you should have used this up first. So
Mhm.
we're gonna look at those to make sure that they're cleaned up first, get them out of the way and then move forward.
Yeah, that's much.
Right,
nicer.
because a fresh request should be net of whatever they haven't used.
Right, so we want to send reports out going, this is what you have in every fund. Here's the oldest ones, make sure they're addressed. And then keep it clean going forward.
Well, in the whole scheme of things, this is not a very long list, just to be 2 pages. But I think just lesson learned, we've got to make sure there's clarity and transparency to this. So just to your point, that they know there's funds here to be used first. So, okay.
Yeah.
Tiger, anything else on your end?
No, I do have to say that with Ann's installation or coming in as CFO, the process has gotten a lot better. And one of the reasons too you saw in here is that was through COVID, at the end of COVID as well for us, which kind of hurt. We kind of pushed us behind. But having the system that Ann has now where we can put multiple lines on a purchase order and be able to clean up everything from behind you, this list, my vision for our departments is that this list will be very small with very specific reasons as to why we need them to be carried over from year to year. But I'm looking at having this entire list gone by the end of this fiscal year, so we won't have to revisit it again.
Or returned, right?
Or returned. That's correct. Yeah, the project will run, and whatever's left will come back to the town.
Okay, so do we need a motion for this, Tucker, to move all this? Any other questions by anybody? Bob, I don't want to, if there's anything on, any questions that you have, I don't want to miss you up there.
No, nope.
Anything else? Any other clarity?
I just had a quick question. Out of curiosity, the painting, is it to one contractor or a subcontract for each school, or there's just one contractor does all the schools,
I'd have to look into that. I don't know we don't see their contracting side of it. I can ask that question and get back to you. I'll
because
send
then
it to-
all would clear versus maybe only 2 or 3 would
Yeah,
clear.
they bid out for everything, so they'll have a bid or a quota on everything. So I'll get that information out.
Okay, I think we can do it on a list in one vote. If we can just do a motion for approving the 2024 rollover request for the discussion that we just have. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Michael, second.
Chris.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? So moved. Thanks, Tiger.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
Josh. We have some approvals here for
Yeah.
line item transfers. Okay.
So the last thing I have for you tonight are 3 sets of line item transfers. The first set being from FY '24. These are transfers just to review. There's quite a few of them. They total about $35,118. They're mostly just small administrative transfers, making room for things like voice and data or office supplies as kind of the year ends and people, find money in postage and so on. The next are also just to review from FY '25. Sorry, a much shorter list, obviously, as we just kind of started. 18,100. And the last list are FY '25 transfers to approve. So this is a total of $220,588.38. So going through them from the top, it is 40,000 from the general fund contingency to the electricity line for the police department. I believe that was kind of an under budgeted item because of their move into 39 Locust. I think it's kind of like an all electric system in terms of heating and electricity. So this is moving what we anticipate kind of the shortfall to be for FY '25.
Does this go against the PD building project though? Because
No,
because it's the
their
rental?
PD building is gonna take what the PD is doing at their building. The project's gonna take up that.
Okay.
39 Locust is
Okay.
picking up their regular operating right now.
Okay.
And in talking to Bill, the timeline of when they thought when they were building the budget, the timeline of when they thought they would be moving them out of 39 Locust versus what the timeline is, was how they were generating the budget. So it's actually, I think they said March or April, they thought at that point. So now we know it's going to be through, I think, June, whatever the date is. So this would be the shortfall to make sure it's in place.
Actually, we're saving time.
When do we move?
So they're not going to be needing the rental likely as much. They just said earlier that they're going to have 6 months less of a need for rent. I mean, for Locust, because they're going to be able to move out earlier than expected. So they originally projected November of 2025,
Right.
and they're thinking they will be out by probably
May, June.
May, June.
This is to bring them to June. Okay, that's what I meant. This is to bring them to June.
Okay.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right.
The next two, I believe, were they emergency purchases? They're transfers from contingency, the first one being from contingency to the building departments, outside contractors. That's for AC units at the highway department as well as Lapham.
Emergency
And
repairs.
emergency repairs on them, sorry. And the second one for 49,000 and change is from contingency within the sewer fund into the outside contractor line for like a rental and repairs on their generator there.
It was a very expensive generator.
And the last two are transfers between bonded capital projects within the same authorization group, moving from projects that are completed to two projects that still need a little bit of funding to complete. That being the Irwin Park Barn and the Irwin Park Barn roof support as well. Any questions?
Good, no, good summary. Any questions? Concerns, thoughts? Okay, motion to approve the line item transfers. Tom, second. Nick, all in favor? Opposed, none?
No,
Oh.
Nick's not seated. Oh, yes,
Yes,
he
he
is.
is. We
Yeah,
did.
we
Yeah.
sat him for.
Yep,
Just that.
we're good.
Sorry.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Anything else from you two? Okay. All right. Well, we will then, we're going to move into executive session. Tucker? Yep. Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn, and then I've got to let people know who's staying. Yeah, okay. So motion to adjourn. Yep, Maria, second. Nick, all in favor of moving to executive session? Opposed? None? Okay, so moved. Yeah, I'm inviting, obviously, all the Board of Finance, Skip, you two. And do we, Scott. And I, do we need, I don't think we need Josh and Ann for the rest of the night. So yeah, we're good. Okay. Good night. Thank you. Great job. That's on Tucker. She's doing that.
She can throw them off.
Scott, you might as well come on up to the front. Thank you for coming. I knew you had a conflict tonight. We appreciate that.
Is the Zoom clear?
Definitely.
79 watching.
Motion to adjourn executive session, please.
Motion?
Motion, Maria, second.
So moved.
Second, Chris, okay, all in favor? Aye, opposed? None? Okay, we're out of executive session. All right, and with that, thank you all for your help tonight on this kickoff to our new fiscal year. And great news from Josh and Ann, I thought. That was a great update from them. And the police station's moving along on time and hopefully under budget. Okay, well, that, unless there's anything else, we'll do a motion to adjourn our meeting. No, we did executive
just-
session. Nick,
Jeez.
Nick, second. Calm, all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
opposed, none. Thank you all.